Well, it's time for your national forecast. In a moment here, we'll be talking about our storm center coverage of a real good nor'easter packing a punch in Atlantic Canada. Some dangerous conditions as many road closures have been reported already. We'll be getting into that in a moment in our storm center coverage. But on the other side of the country, yeah, we've been still dealing with some favorable temperatures. A bit of rainfall looks to be moving back into southern parts of BC. And we'll start out in the western half of the country where, yeah, the temperatures are still very cold for Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Alberta steering clear of the chillier temperatures for now, but we do look to have some snowfall this evening into our Thursday morning, moving across parts of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Nothing too major in the snowfall department for the prairies by the end of the work week, it looks like, but we'll be looking at some breezy conditions along with the snowfall we do see. But again, temperatures this afternoon with the wind chill, oh my goodness, feeling like minus 23 in Dauphin, so the Parkland area is certainly feeling the chill, as is much of Manitoba. But looking across the prairie region, we can really get a sense of Alberta. Well, they've steered clear of most of the cold so far this week, but not the case, as you can see, for Edmonton Friday and Saturday, minus 11 and minus 15 degrees respectively. That's not even factoring in the wind chill for our daytime highs. But as we look to BC, and not so much talking cold, in fact, the national hotspot was in British Columbia yesterday, 10 degrees for Port Hardy and northern parts of Vancouver Island, but also kind of highlighting the return of some moisture to southern BC, as that will be bringing the snowfall to higher elevations and making for some potentially dangerous travel there on a couple of highway passes. But the rainfall will be what we're seeing along the coast, as you can see here. Maybe some higher amounts for Vancouver all the way through to the end of the week. But temperature-wise, a look across southern BC for this afternoon, and still fairly close to double digits in parts of Vancouver Island, but we'll see if we can kind of match yesterday's temperatures. But for Vancouver, the 7-day forecast pattern showing, yeah, some decent temperatures, probably the envy of many in Canada, but the rainfall will be a through line. Now, not rain, but snowfall waiting for parts of Ontario and western Quebec, as some snow squall warnings in effect with some activity we're seeing early on our Wednesday. But you can see southern areas with those snow squall watches. Well, those are more so indicating tomorrow's situation, and we can look all the way through the day tomorrow. And yes, some impressive lake effect snowfall totals could be piling up here as we can kind of look at where the action is on our Wednesday off Lake Superior and areas like Georgian Bay. But again, just continuing through the evening into tomorrow, shifting further and further south with the focus of that snow, and that could make for some disruptive travel. And again, like we just saw a moment ago, some decently impressive snowfall totals. But the wind is going to be ushering in this wintry weather, as you see here. Those gusty conditions look to be pretty consistent for many across Ontario and Quebec through the end of the week. But temperature-wise, we are still trending on the cooler side, although it's not quite as cold as it's going to get. We see even colder conditions as we looked into the weekend. But for southern Quebec, it's been cold for the first few days of December. That looks to continue with a high of -2 in Montreal for our Wednesday, feeling like -7, and a bit of snowfall moving through, but nothing quite as formidable as that lake effect activity. Now we transition to Atlantic Canada, where, yes, we are in our storm center coverage. And for good reason. It is a powerful nor'easter, as these systems usually are, with not just the heavy, wet snowfall, which this youngster seems to be okay with on account of the snow day and the chance to play in the snow. But yeah, it's heavy, it's wet, and it's going to be a lot to shovel out of. And we can see the past 12 hours have already brought some impressive snowfall totals, and this is going to really continue to just wreak havoc, especially on travel. We've seen ferry cancellations due to the strong winds, and things really shifting over to Newfoundland as we get deeper into our morning and afternoon with some impressive snowfall rates there. So all in all, we're looking at a nor'easter through our Wednesday today, bringing lots of snowfall, slick conditions. So if you do have to travel, please be careful, because we are getting reports of a number of challenges driving.